kalẹ̀ níbẹ̀ yẹn ò nílé lóko. Ẹ sì kú dédé àsìkò yìí. Hello everyone, it's Aderonke again. I hope your day is going well. Today, I'd like to address another awful. Awful. Incantation is the closest English word that I can think of for awful. I have a video in which I expressed what awful is and I broke it down and I went into the significance of it. So it's not very recent, but it's very useful. I will attach it to the comment section or put it in the cards for you to, if you probably need to know what awful is to begin with, I'd encourage you to watch that video first before watching this one and the ones before and the ones that will come after. As you probably can already tell from what's on my head, from the feather on my head and in the attached picture, yes, it relates to the tail feathers of the African grey parrots. So they used to be more common than they are now. With commercialization, you have the ruining of nature. So I don't even want to get into all that. They used to be more commonly found, more, they had a bit more freedom, so to say. You find them more in the wild. These days, if they're not already in one zoo somewhere, then they are owned by somebody. But they used to be more common millenniums ago, as several other animals, even dogs, and now you have to go buy them in the market if you need one as a pet or for some other purpose. They are very significant birds to our history and culture. Very, very significant. People from Iwo would attest to the significance of these birds. Apart from even spirituality and the purpose that they serve in the spiritual circle, which is another thing. Speaking practically, during wars, there were limitations to the intelligence, to what the security personnel could do. We didn't have cameras. Surveillance-wise, we were not as advanced as we are, and I think the rest of the world would agree. I don't think in any part of the world they had cameras just yet or any cellular device. So they would travel the distance and go to the enemy's camps, or let me say the adversaries' camps, and listen in on their conversations. Well, if those enemies saw them, they very after a while they killed them. Like, oh, so you want to eavesdrop or whatever, or they will capture them or something. But before then, they would listen in on their conversations, travel back to the people that they are loyal to. Let's say in the case of Iwo, travel back to the Iwo soldiers. They were not necessarily owned by them either. Like I said, they were just birds doing their own thing. But I guess some of them had a side. I guess maybe it was their land too, so to say. So they would come back anyway, and because they can mimic the human voice, relate things that were being planned word for word, and the strategies that they intend to use, they would relate them word for word in the actual voice and tone of the people who were speaking. So apart from the fact that they solved several crimes, or they were also very helpful for intelligence groups. So they are very, very significant, and there are several stories in that regard that you would hear. Very significant. This incantation relates to their red or reddish tail feathers, and it is Ojo niro Titi kó paná ìdí ìkódẹ. You can leave the ìdí out. You can include it as well. So you either say Ojo niro Titi kó paná ìdí ìkódẹ, or you say Ojo niro Titi kó paná ìkódẹ, or you say Ojo niro Titi kó paná ìdí odídẹrẹ́. And I'm going to tell you what that means word for word. Ojo niro Titi kó pa iná ìdí ìkódẹ. Òjò nírọ̀ paná kó dẹ. Òjò nírọ̀ títí kó paná ìdí odídẹrẹ́. This is what that statement is. Òjò is rain. Òní. The O there negates. If you're looking for an equivalent of O, like when it stands alone as a word like that, not will probably do it. And because of that, we can say ni would be something like will, although it's just used to will not. It would work translation wise. So not will is what you would have, but of course when you rearrange it you have will not. So not will, rain not will, or rain will not. Ro is to fall or drop. In the case of rain, fall. Titi, for so long. Titi, for so long, or forever. In another context, if you say Titi layo, joy is forever. In another context, especially when it's like this, for so long. Titi. Ko. Ko is a combination of two words. Ki o. Ki o. Ki can be so that. O is it. For translation purposes, say that it will. Ki o, that it will. So that it will may probably not work so much. So you have that it will. Ki o. Ba is quench. And that's just one of its several meanings. It could be kill. It could be turn off. It could be extinguish. It could be rob. It could be... the word has homonymic tendency. So there are several words with the same way of pronouncing, same pronunciation, same spelling, as far as tone marks and all that is concerned, but you'd have different meanings. I'll attach the video as well so that you can see just how versatile. It's the most versatile verb in the Yoruba language, I dare say. It's extremely versatile. Ino is the fire. Ino is fire. Idi is, depending on the context, it could be buttocks, quite simply. Idi also has a homonymic tendency, so it could even be the reason. And there are several jokes that have been told with that. The fact that Ed, same pronunciation, same spelling, could be buttocks, but it could also be reason. So you have several jokes like, in this life we have several reasons. Or maybe somebody will say in Yoruba, Nili aye yi, ani idi pupo. And somebody would interpret it wrongly for comedy purposes and say, in this life we have many buttocks. Ìdí kékeré àti ìdí ńlá, big reasons and small reasons for our decisions. And somebody will interpret it wrongly and say, big buttocks and small buttocks. Several jokes, several jokes that you hear in that regard. But apart from those, it could also be at the base of. At the base of. So bear in mind that ed doesn't have to be included, but if it is, then it changes the meaning slightly. It changes the mental picture slightly, at least. Ikode is iko, odidere, combined, shrunk, and shortened. Iko, odidere, combined, shrunk, and shortened. So I'll show you how iko didere can become ikode. The parrot's tail feathers. The parrot's tail feathers. Idi odidere would also be the buttock. It won't, in this case, it won't even be buttocks. See? It would be more like rear end. The rear end of the parrot. More like, not even buttocks. The rear end of the parrot. So you either say, Ojo nírọ̀ títí kó paná ìdí ìkódẹ. Ojo nírọ̀ títí kó paná ìkódẹ. See, Ojo nírọ̀ títí kó pa iná ìkódẹ. Or you could say, Ojo nírọ̀ títí kó pa iná ìdí odídẹrẹ́. Odídẹrẹ́ is what this bird is called. called. It's also called ayekoto, ayekoto, and I'm pretty sure that there's a reason for it. So although there are speculations, and I don't like to, if my mind doesn't resonate or doesn't feel like they agree, I don't like to agree with speculations. I sort of have an inbuilt way of filtering information that seems like somebody made up rather than what you can tell from the word itself, from the etymology. So, but anyway, aye is the world or the earth. It could even be people of the world as well. That's another metaphor that aye could could be a metaphor for the people of the world. Ko, if you weren't using it to make a statement like that, in and of itself, it's ko, which is reject. So, but because do is what the next word starts with, then it becomes re. I probably explained it in my video on, was it? I don't think I've explained in depth, but I'll address it soon. How words that have do, the do tone, or that end with the do tone may change if the next word also has the do tone. Just for better speaking, rather than aye ko otito, instead it will change. I'll address that separately. But aye ko otito is shrunk into a word like this. You would typically shorten otito to oto. That happens. You don't have to, but people shorten otito to oto. We like to shrink words. The world rejects the truth. So the world rejects or dismisses the truth is one of the names for this bird, but I don't know. At the very basic level, I would just say that perhaps sometime in history, this bird tried to perhaps warn a group of people, but perhaps they didn't listen. Perhaps they thought it was funny. They were probably more absorbed with the with that than what the bird was trying to say, the message the bird was trying to relate. Perhaps something happened in that regard. That's what you see at the basic level. The next place that a person would search, especially for things that may have happened like several millenniums ago, would be the Odrifa. And I was obsessed with trying to find the story. Trust me, leave the obsession to me. I can be very obsessed with history. I know that in no civilization, in no part of the world was everything recorded in detail how this word came to be. In the 1990s, somebody is going to incarnate, and our name would be Aderonke, and we have to write every single thing down for her so she doesn't obsess, or so that she doesn't get sleepless nights over trying to find things that may have happened millenniums before she incarnated as this person. I know that's not how the world works. Not every single thing would have been detailed, even if we had books and paper, even if we had the means. But it's one of the ones I think about. I don't know all this. The thing is, you can't know every single thing in the Odrifa. Even Babalawos have to have to communicate among one another to be reminded of certain essays that may not be as popular as others. So there's that, but I don't know. But if I do find any story that seems credible, not like something made up or something for Facebook likes, I will let you know. Odidere is another one that I wondered about as well. Odidere. The thing is, first you have dialects. The dialect situations, you're not sure what dialect, because the dialect that it came from would also matter in how you interpret it. Odidere is what it would seem like if you kind of attempt to break it down just at first glance. But I don't know if that Odi is, a deaf person. And it won't be too far off from Ayekoto either, just choosing to be deaf to something that is being said, you know. So I don't know. I tried. I don't know. Perhaps I didn't have enough time on my hands, but I will definitely get back to you on this one if I find anything useful. So yeah, etymology wise, you know how much I like to obsess over etymology. I don't have too much to say in that regard. But anyway, those are the names of the bird. Iye is feather, very commonly. Iye is feather. Iko is tail feather. Iko. Why is the tail feather called Iko? It could also be that it touches the ground, like it's the ko is a verb, it's to collect or to pack or to gather. So perhaps it's the one that collects sand, collects dust from the floor, or even collects feces. It's the one that faces the floor and collects whatever is on the floor, from dirt to feces to whatever is there, because it touches down, is what I can assume that it's about. That is about from face value. But again, that's speculation based on etymology. I can't categorically say that that was what. Well, I may not be too far off. I may not be too far off, even if it isn't. But yeah, so Iko, yeah, Odidere. So the tail feather of the parrot is Iko Odidere. Now, but people will shorten Odidere to Ode. Ode, so don't be surprised if you hear Ode instead of Odidere as well. Iko Odidere would often be shortened to Iko Ode, or you could have Ikode, combine the two words even. You could even have Ikoride, and I think it's the Ijebu area, or just multiple parts of the state. You'd hear Ikoride, Ekoide, Ekiti. Trying to figure out how the Ijisha would say it. Probably Ikode as well. Putting that into consideration, let's try to let's try to make sense of it further. Òjò ní rọ̀ títí kó paná ìdí ìkódẹ, or òjò ní rọ̀ títí kó paná ìkódẹ, or òjò ní rọ̀ títí kó paná ìdí odídẹrẹ́. Rain will not fall for so long that it will quench the fire at the base. Ìdí here will change the sentence structure. If you include Ìdí, rain will not fall for so long that it will quench the fire at the base of the parrot's tail feathers. If you include Ìdí, you are creating a mental picture that there's an invisible fire that burns, that gives that part of the parrot the redness that it has, that gives the tail feathers the redness that they have. So with Ìdí at the base of, you're thinking of an imaginary fire or a metaphorical fire that continually burns to give that part its reddish color. And if you leave it out, if you don't include it, you have rain will not fall for so long that it will quench the fire of the parrot's tail feathers. If you don't include Ìdí, we now have a mental picture that the fire is in the feathers themselves, or it's something that is internal, rather than being something separate, the fire being something separate underneath. It's an internal fire that keeps it red, that keeps it alive, that keeps it burning, so to say. So if you leave the Ìdí out, then you change the meaning. If you include the Ìdí, you have this imaginary fire. If you exclude it, then you don't have the imaginary fire. The fire is now within. Rain will not fall for so long that it will quench the fire at the base of, or quench the fire of, the parrot's tail feathers. Or rain will not fall for so long that it will quench the fire of the buttocks of the parrot or the rear end of the parrot. Rain cannot fall to the extent that it will quench the fire of the parrot's tail feathers. Rain cannot fall to the extent that it will quench the fire at the base of the parrot's tail feathers. Rain cannot fall to the extent that it will quench the fire of the rear end of the parrot. Depending on the one you choose, you may hear all three possibilities. Why do you say incantations? You use them to buttress your positive wishes, your prayers. You use, whether they are practical things, whether they are metaphorical things, you use things that you can observe in nature, things that are truths or relative truths, even. You use them to emphasize your point, to emphasize your, and sometimes you may not even have to utter a prayer, but you say that emphatically while thinking of your own situation. So no challenge or trial is strong enough to kill my light is what you would be going for when you use that incantation personally. No challenge or trial is strong enough to kill me. Look at this bird. I think this one is somebody's pet after their bath. Look at the feathers, still red. Like, it doesn't matter if you soak this bird in the ocean. It doesn't even matter if you kill them. That's the thing. Except you intentionally pluck all the tail feathers off. You can't wash it away. You can't wash the redness away. No, it's going to continually be red. So, no challenge or trial, which you could say rain would be a metaphor of, is strong enough to kill my light, to kill my passion, to kill my desire, to kill my drive, to kill my goal, to kill my essence, to kill my essence. No challenge or trial is strong enough to kill my light. Òjò nírọ̀ títí, kópa náà dì kó dẹ. Òjò nírọ̀ títí, kópa náà dì kó rí dẹ. If you wish. Òjò nírọ̀ títí, kópa náà kó rí dẹ. Òjò nírọ̀ títí, kópa náà kó dẹ. Òjò nírọ̀ títí, kópa náà di odídẹrẹ́. No rain is strong enough. It doesn't, even if it is a hurricane, whatever, even if it is flood, whatever, you know. And it may kill the bird, even if it's that strong, but it can't wash away the redness at the tail of the parrot. It's going to continually, that part you cannot wash away, irrespective of what you try. So that's the significance. And you would see a lot of oníṣẹ̀ṣe wearing it because of the uniqueness. For many reasons it is used, you know. Often you would see it used for beautification, yes, and most popularly one of our favorite festivals, the Osun Festival, you see a lot of it in the heads of the Yolosuns and Baba Olosuns and Yanifas and Baba. You see it a lot. The significance there, as far as beautification is concerned, is just uniqueness. Being unique in your own self, being unique in your own path. As opposed to the goshu, shama telero. Just do what everybody else is doing and believe in what everybody is believing in and not question anything. Standing in one's own light, standing in one's own self, being proud of one's own uniqueness. That's at the basic level. Another translation or meaning that wearing it could have could also be recognizing that one is because the metaphor, one of the things that it can stand as a metaphor of is also fire, is also light. So in terms of aroko, you know, it can also represent light or fire. In terms of symbolic messaging. So it could also be accepting one's role as a light worker. That's meaning number 2. put beautification aside, represents uniqueness, rareness, accepting one's role as a light worker, as a way shower. That's another, because if you're going to wear something, you have to know why you're wearing it. Embracing one's role as a light worker, as a way shower, as a giver of light, and being willing to use that, to whom much is given, much is expected. Being willing to use that gift in the wisest ways possible, in the preservation of earth and in the growth of the soul. When you decide to go into the other uses that it may have, don't be surprised if you find several other interesting things. I'm sure a good number of people already know this, but I have an Etsy store and I have a code available for sale on my Etsy store. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like very quickly. These are the pictures that I attached of them, and so for initiations and festivals, and you find people wearing them, and this is the description that I gave, which may also buttress what I've addressed in this video. Òjò kìí rọ̀ títí kópa náà dì kó dẹ. Òjò kìí rọ̀ títí kópa náà dì kó dẹ. No matter how long rain falls, it is never strong enough to turn off the light that causes the red tail feathers of the African gay parrot of the African gray parrot to shine bright. Òjò kìí rọ̀ títí kópa náà dì kó dẹ. No matter how long. This is probably even a better, perhaps a simpler and easier to digest way of explaining it. But anyway, no matter how long rain falls, it is never strong enough to turn off the light that causes the red tail feathers of the African grey parrot to shine bright. Good. A symbol of uniqueness and light, like I mentioned earlier, Ikode is worn by people, especially Orisha devotees, who understand and celebrate their roles as light workers and way showers. Among other things, it represents distinctiveness, resilience, perseverance, and beauty, despite all odds. Often used to adorn the head during festivals, initiations, and other celebrations, Ikode is an essential item in matters related to Yoruba spirituality. So, you would agree that that is accurate, and that is the summary of what I've discussed in this video. A big thank you to my YouTube members and my patron members, my patrons. Thank you so much for your support, and to those who support me in other ways as well, by liking my videos and participating in conversations. Even if we have frictions, even if I don't agree with you and you don't agree with me, thank you for participating regardless. And to my new patrons and the newer members of my channel, I welcome and thank you. And I encourage those who would like to join as well to please do. And I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.
Mi kò ní aláṣejù ọdẹ níborí àsunkún rọjò ilé ní tú eléèmọ kọlọkọlọ tí ń bẹ ń gbọ́ láwo tí ń pa kírun mi láti ẹ̀jẹ̀ ó dédé ọpẹ sí jagun sínú agbo wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ kan bá ara bọdọ lórí etí wọn lórí wà ní onílé má gbọ́ títí mo rí àríyàn tá ń da bẹ́ẹ̀ lóṣù tá ń da bẹ́ẹ̀ síse tá ń dá làbàtà bútú tó sojú rẹ̀ gún ẹ̀gún.